Uh, I ask myself what qualifies a person to be called a teacher, at which given rate or at which given level do we at least say that's a teacher? Is it by order of qualification? Is it the number of students, or just having students permit you to wear that hat? But that's um, is it the mastery in that which you possess and at least are able to impart over to someone else that is obviously being mentored, who's following, who's ultimately learning from you? I ask this because I became a teacher before I even realized I was one. And a lot of people don't know this, but I don't want to use the word former because that makes it very like, you know, very dramatic, if anything. But officially, on the clock, I have 6 years lecturing, in the entertainment industry, specifically sound engineers, because that was my trade essentially. And honestly, at the beginning, it was really a bag, and I fell in love with it in ways that I could never really explain to people. I think I fell in love with the responsibility of imparting knowledge, and I developed a pedagogy of sorts without even realizing it. A lot of this is more in retrospect, but I think the thing that helped me the most in creating rapport, if anything, was seeing myself and the students I was teaching. That actually allowed me to learn so much more as a master. Every hour that I spent outside of the classroom was to be better for them so that the guys could reach set goals in a much shorter time frame. And I think this philosophy comes from me always seeking to be the big brother I never had. I'm the firstborn child, and so I have a younger brother. And I've always had to, in all senses, lead. And I think becoming a lecturer at such a very young age taught me so much. There's obviously the subject matter that you have to like impart and make sure that people are learning on a day-to-day level. But damn, there was just other things that I was never prepared for. Just the social responsibility of being a big brother to people that you might see and might never see again. You don't have to care, ultimately, is what I'm saying. And giving people second chances and still being undermined by maybe, perhaps, your senseis, your seniors above you, because maybe your methodology is a little bit more unorthodox. And there was like varying challenges around this new adventure. Um, and I didn't even know my value as a teacher at that moment in time. And then a friend of mine sort of kind of posted on social media their accomplishments, and it made me realize that I became a lecturer at the age of 25, 26. And I was just like, I think that's big. I think that's massive. But I never realized it because I didn't see it as an accomplishment or something worth being praised for. Um, there was no perusal behind it. It was just really me just trying to like, make ends meet. And I was like, well, I'm a big bro in the game. Let me impart knowledge. And I saw the gap. And like with anything that I do, I really put my heart in it. So it became an interesting journey. And then outside that little bubble, I began to teach. And teaching became servanthood in its beautiful sense. And some of the guys that I met in my early classroom, you know, walk with me in this journey that we all trying to discover called life. And the fact that they can call and say, hey, these are the moves I'm trying to make in the industry. What do you think, big bro? Uh, and to be trusted with that responsibility. And obviously, it doesn't end there, it can go as far as relationships and or anything in particular. Whether it be relationships, or just life in general, a conversation, if anything. And I was happy to carry that on my shoulders because I realized not everyone was meant to be a teacher. So that conversation came into the playing field. Then I started understanding the difference between those that taught from a place of compassion, empathy, understanding, and knowing, and what that impact had on my life, what it had on the things I had to learn at the time, even if I was not interested, but the human being that was carrying that message had an interest in what they loved and had an interest, or at least was able to see us and teach from a place of understanding. And I'm happy that I know that today because I'm a lot more attentive about the gift. I think it's only fair to also call it that. And I say this again, the responsibility one that needs to bear for the next generation, but even for the generation that precedes us, you know, it's never too late to teach an old dog new tricks, as they say. But yeah, it's made me go back to school so that I could learn to be a better teacher. Is one thing that I learned from my student, and I teach it to all my other students. And it's the encompassing idea that teach once, learn twice. And I walk with that in every room, um, believing and knowing that I can exchange nuggets of wisdom because no one has my experience. And I think that's very important to know. And so, yeah, now I do it in various forms, expanding what I know in many disciplinaries and sharing that. So, yeah, class, Stagnot, my friends, Stagnot.